12,000 men, women and children in Great Britain today who are members of nudist clubs, and their numbers are on the increase. The number of clubs, too, catering for them has nearly doubled in the past 5 years. Magazines using pictures of the nudist way of life, or naturism, as nudists prefer to call it, are increasing in number on the book stands, selling to a public perhaps not so much interested in joining the naturist cause as looking at pictures of the unclothed. And the number of ex-certificate films using nudism as a theme to push box office takings up is also increasing. Now, to many, it may seem a contradiction in terms to advance the benefits of an unclothed way of life in a climate like ours. But nudists claim that a body without clothes means a mind without dirty thoughts, that the healthy way of life can become a pure way of thinking. And this summer there have been more applications than ever before from nudists who use both beaches and public swimming baths for their activities. Gillian, Strickland and the Man Alive film team have been to nudist colonies to investigate. During their filming, of course, they found nudists in the conditions most natural to them, unclothed. Now, for some people, this may therefore be embarrassing viewing, which they would rather not see or have their families see. Gillian Strickland, who wore a dress all the time, reports on film.
This is nudism as the nudist likes to see it. Sun and fresh air with fun and games for all the family. These naturists, that's the label they prefer, are members of the Manchester Sun and Air Society, 17 flat and wooded acres in Cheshire. Their brochure warns, the rules here are the rules of good camping, and each fine weekend 100 campers pitch their tents, park their caravans, take off their clothes and relax. A rare flash of sunshine may make it all worthwhile, but the harsh reality is mostly wet and windy. Then members make for the shelter of their clubhouse. Here they cluster together, and the less hardy put their clothes back on, although for others every minute without them counts. To keep the weather out, they group round the bar, drinking endless cups of tea, talking back over finer days and planning holidays abroad. The only chance that some of them see for ever getting that sought-after all-over tan. The Dickinson family, for example, where did they manage to get so brown?
Well, we did have a tan before we went away, but we just been to a naturist holiday resort at Montleve in France, and that's where we finished it off. But we did have a tan before we went, yeah.
No, you've both got very good figures. Do you go to elaborate attempts to keep them that way because you take your clothes off, do you think?
We don't think we have actually.
No.
Flattered, I think.
Nobody bothered at all. That was one of the things that put me off, really. I thought that everybody would be very beautiful, you know. And I thought, when he said, when my husband said to me, you know, what do you think about it? I said, oh, I can't go, you know, looking like this. We thought that everybody would be, you know. Because you get that impression from looking at magazines and that. You get the impression that everybody...
The false impression.
Yeah.
That's the trouble, people don't realise outside what the naturist club is like inside. You tend to hear little bits of talk here and there, and there's no real idea, and they condemn a place before they really know what goes on. And actually, it's just a normal way of life. There's quite normal people from every walk of life, every shape and size. I mean, that's how it is.
Were you a bit disappointed that they were every shape and size?
Oh no, it was a relief. Such a relief when we came and found that there were just ordinary people like ourselves, you know, with the children and, you know, just ordinary people.
Probably family people.
For the die-hard nudist, catching the sun on a cloudy day can be a chilly uphill struggle.
Rather wishful thinking sunbathing on a day like this.
Well, the sun does come out and when it's pleasant, it's not cold.
The line is not cold.
No, well, I'm used to it, I don't bother. Not really cold.
You can swim on a day like this.
Oh, it's not like cold water very much, you know. Well, I wouldn't swim because I can't swim, that's simple, but I go in the water, that's good.
You're a member of this club?
Oh, yeah.
How long have you been coming?
Oh, I should think about 6 or 7 years, I think, but I've been doing the sunbathing lot for much longer than that.
What is it as far as you're concerned? Just sunbathing?
Well, no, I think clothes are things that you wear for 2 reasons only. The decoration, necessity, like pruning the roses or the cold weather, or for decoration. And when neither of those are called for, I just don't like wearing clothes.
You don't wear clothes around the house again?
Not if I don't need to. If there's going to be no one about, I don't bother. And if the weather's suitable, of course.
Have you ever found a girlfriend here that you've chosen?
No. No, they're all in from outside the club, actually.
Do you tell the ones outside the club that you come from?
I haven't had need to. I would if I had hoped that it was a bit more serious and that I intended bringing them down, then I would obviously tell them. It's just the matter hasn't arisen, actually.
It could be a tricky business for respected Stockport people to preach the nudist creed. Relatives have misgivings and the neighbours might not understand. Businessman Harold Sefton started young, but Gillian, born a Yuletide baby, needed coaxing.
Yes, I did indeed, because I'd had a wonderfully ordinary, strict upbringing too. And certainly it took me at least 2 years to consider this idea. But the day came when we decided to take the plunge. And my hubby with our 2 young girls, as they were then, but this is about 12 years ago, we had the introduction to the Manchester Sun and Air Society. And good people there met us at the gate and literally took us by the hand, introduced us to the grounds and the people there, and took us along to the swimming pool. And you might say that that is a christening for Naturism. It was a lovely day, it was August time of the year. We had our picnic food with us, and we thoroughly enjoyed the pool. Well, of course, when you come out of the pool, you are christened. Naturism is so lovely to be amongst with people who are free and easy and happy. Some naturists have said to me, you know, this is a religion all its own. And quite honestly, if the world were all naturists, and had the naturist creed, if you like, to call it such, it would be a very happy world indeed, and there wouldn't be much wrong with all those that dwell in it. It's like planting a flower in a garden and seeing them flourish, and they do grow in naturism to be very happy people.
Well, I thought you were wearing clothes.
Not unless you're doing something on parallel bars or something like that, so you ever need any clothes or anything. In fact, all sport is, you know, they usually insist that the clubs that you're stretched anyway, even on the cold winter days.
This raw pioneering spirit is very much alive, with ditches to be dug and clearings to be cleared so another convert can pitch his tent. But life, for nudists in particular, can become a bed of nettles.
Isn't that a dangerous job?
It could be, if you didn't know what you were doing. But we're experienced enough and taken through down to, you know the problems, of course.
But isn't it a real case for clothes doing a job like this?
Could be, of course. But, well, it's obviously, I'm talking, it's a warm job. It's on the perspire. It's easier to perspire, more comfortable, shall we say, than to be clumbing with a boiler suit and Wellingtons and the usual garb.
But there's a lot of forms in form.
Well, actually, I position myself so they're not. You know, in the way of not. Of course, if I was in a bed of nettles, then I would obviously have to come on. It's only common sense. So, the most dangerous job that a naturist can do is to fry sausages.
More dangerous than what?
Oh, I think so. I think so. It is a job. Oh, splinters. One has to keep an eye on the job, of course, while one's working. It's necessary to be careful about all sorts of manual work at all times, of course.
Wouldn't you always have to wear some sort of protective clothing?
I don't think so. Naturalists get so used to doing everything without clothes that this is part of the setup. We do this thing quite naturally. We do all our work in this way if possible.
And naturists have their own hotels. Gordon French, once a public relations man, now runs the Queen's House near Deal in Kent. It opened in February at a cost to Mr. French and his co-directors. Again, the grinds are lovely and the clientele that comes here varies.
We have people from all walks of life. People from the very top to, well, we have a bricklayer and a member of House of Lords in the same party. But they've all got one thing in common. They think it's silly to wear a bathing suit.
Isn't this a very small thing to have in common, just to spend a holiday?
I know, it is amazing. But then it's a jolly good holiday. They get good food. They get lovely grounds. They've got tennis. They've got a sauna bath. They've got a beautiful swimming pool.
All the year round, happiness for the Lacey family means the hard road home to a bungalow well back in the woods near St. Albans. Every evening Ken Lacey picks up his son Nigel and daughter Claire and they all drive home from work together. They seem a very typical family, except that home is a nudist camp called Spielplatz, and for them the price of full-time devotion to their cause means a domestic life which must be shut off from the public gaze. Over 30 families live here, but the less dedicated can pay annual subscription and turn up for the day. For the Laceys, at any rate, their idea of heaven is to come home from work, take off their clothes before they've even had tea and relax. She doesn't like leaving the grounds to the camp much, so she's become the unofficial resident hairdresser there. Nudists must take good care of their looks, and Claire once won a Miss Venus title, but you can't always be counting the calories.
You and your things.
It was one hot day 3 years ago that the United Lacey family decided to become permanent nudists.
Get them off then.
The Siamese Cindy didn't bat an eyelid on arrival, but humans might think it a far cry from that dream cottage in the country.
Not really. When it's hot, you try and take off as many clothes as you can decently do, wherever you are. But here it's...
What do you do here in the winter?
Well, there's always the television, and I do go out, either to St Albans or Watford, depending on what's on.
Is he isolated here?
Yes, but it's nice and peaceful there.
What did you think when your parents first suggested coming to live here?
Well, I was all for it.
You've been going to some clubs as well?
Yes.
Leslie Bainbridge was once a finalist for Mr. Universe. He's editor and one of the leading photographers for a magazine called Health and Efficiency, a specialist magazine for Britain's naturists. So his Mayfair office is the heart of nudist news. The naturists are keen to use the columns of H&E, as they call it, to put over their fresh air family image. Mr. Bainbridge is keen to keep up his circulation. So club notes and camping news are heavily illustrated with girly photos, many of them in shrooping-up tradition, many of them all his own work.
Well, come on now, let's have you looking a little provocative. That's right, that's better. It's a little glamour, that much. Oh, that's acceptable. That's excellent. Good, that's beautiful. Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, now, this time, let's go. Right. Now, let's vary it, shall we? I'll take it from another angle.
Now, all the people that you're just seeing on the film, the naturists, are in the studio. In addition, a consultant psychiatrist.
You're quite correct. Naturism is on a tremendously high plane of morality. Tremendously high plane.
You underline what I was saying with every sentence you utter.
Yes.
That this whole movement is based on a terribly high moral ideal, which in fact denies the importance of bodies and denies the importance of sex, and is actually an enormous defensive structure against recognizing that people do in fact have very powerful physical desires, that sex is a very powerful urge from which we mostly have a great deal of trouble with, and that this is one way of coping with the situation, which is to pretend that it doesn't exist.
May I assure you, Doctor, that this is absolutely correct. There is no question of sex in naturism at any time.
Deny that.
No, I deny that completely and utterly.